Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree easy and inexpensive modern farmhouse wreath. We're going to use a hula hoop if you could still get one. But I wanted to tell you that I also tried this on various different wreath forms as well. If you use the hula hoop, you want to cover it, and I decided to cover mine with some brown burlap, which you can get now in the autumn section. We're going to use these burlap leaves. I just thought they were so clean and modern, and we're going to use just 1 pack of green and then 3 packs of beige. You're also going to need your glue gun as well as your scissor, and to hang it as an option, we're going to use this wire edged burlap because it does match the leaves so well. Just so you guys know my inspiration, when I saw these leaves in the store, I immediately thought of the very modern farmhouse feel, where the lines are clean and crisp, but they're still the texture of the country and the colors, the neutrality that goes with the modern feel. So that's why I was inspired to put this on the hula hoop. Technically, I just wanted to be able to glue all of the leaves to themselves and make like a frameless wreath, which is an option. However, I just figured to make it simple for everybody, I would go ahead and just use this hula hoop. If you stick around till after the credits, I did post a picture of all of me laying the leaves on all of the different various wreath forms that are available at the dollar stores. 3 of them you can get at the Dollar Tree, and 1 of them you can get at the 99-cent only store, just so you could see what they'd look like on those backgrounds. But I decided to go ahead and go with this. Originally, I was just going to use 1 of the maple leaves in beige, 1 of the maple leaves. No, oak leaves. Yeah, maple leaves. Yeah, maple leaves in beige, maple leaves in green, and 1 of the oak leaves in beige, because I wanted the different colors and textures, but I still wanted to keep it that sort of still neutral color. I think that the green in this green is a very neutral green, as opposed to the orange and the burgundy that they had, which were really nice and bright autumn colors. So I'm not caring that this isn't the neatest job. We've wrapped hula hoop wreaths before with the wire edged ribbon, and it does hold much tighter and much cleaner than this burlap. However, I don't care. Since we're covering it all with leaves, I actually was thinking that the sloppier it looked, the more natural of, like, possibly it was a giant wicker wreath sort of thing it looked. So I just went ahead and I glued the beginning, wrapped it about a dozen times, glued it again like midway, and then wrapped it around a dozen times. The problem with gluing it along the way is I actually ended up needing a second roll because I was short about 10 inches. Now, had I not glued it along the way, I might have been able to stretch the burlap around, but otherwise still it's fine for me. I'm fine with that. And you guys also can possibly want to hang with the dark brown burlap. It depends on the look that you're going for. The look that I ended up with, I really enjoyed. Actually, I just realized I also didn't mention that we added the words, but that's also just an option. I'll show you that at the end. I realized if you saw the thumbnail, you might have looked for those galvanized words. So after I have this entire thing wrapped and completely covered, oh, and another thing is, sorry, I feel like I'm all over the place. You can spray paint this instead of wrapping it. You can actually peel the plastic covering off, which is I heard was a little bit of difficulty, and then some people actually had to glue their wreath back together again because that plastic sort of was holding the wreath together. But those are just options. If you don't want to cover it with anything, you can go ahead and do that. Like if you don't want to cover it with any ribbon, because the ribbon does add money. You know, the wreath is $1, the ribbon is $1.25 or whatever, and then the leaves, I used $4 worth of leaves. So it adds up after a while, you know. It no longer becomes expensive the more stuff you add to it, as you know. So here's where I'm going to put a hanger. So this is just a scrap that I had. That's why it's not my original budget, but you see I started to glue it closed before I actually put it on the wreath. Yeah, I make mistakes too. But while the glue is still hot, you can peel it off. Now, just be careful when you glue this burlap to itself, because you can burn yourself. The glue can come through the fabric. Even though it's not as open weaved as the other burlap, you still can. So be careful. And then I'm just going to basically glue it to itself and then glue it to the wreath. It is so hard, and I want to apologize if you're new to my channel and you're watching me do this DIY. I don't have the table space for the camera equipment and the hula hoop. There's just no way. I actually, when I did the hula hoop wreath in the spring, for the spring hoop wreath, it was, I had the camera in the middle of the wreath, and that was so difficult to do. I kept feeling I was knocking into it. So I've decided to just, I'm going to work on the side of the wreath, which was a little bit more difficult for me, and I'll show you how I made mistakes and corrected them. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and this might be something that you want to do, is I'm going to lay out my entire pattern. I want to make sure that I have the leaves spaced evenly so I make it all the way around the wreath. Ironically enough, when I started to glue them, I started to move them and crowd them, and I ended up having to move them at the end. So that's the mistake that I made that I'm going to show you how we rectify. But I'm laying out my pattern, and then I decided, like, did I want to take the wire off? Or on the back of each of these leaves is a wire stem that you can peel off very easily. Or did I just want to leave it? Well, I decided to actually fold the wire back underneath the leaf and actually glue on the wire instead of having to worry about the glue coming through the burlap. So I put glue on all of the wire backings when I was ready to glue. So here I am, just like I said, making my layout. What I decided to do was a natural color maple leaf, a natural colored oak leaf, a green maple leaf, and then repeated the pattern. And what I did was, because I had 2 packages of the maple leaves that I actually bought on 2 separate occasions from 2 separate stores, I actually kept them separate in case the color was a little different. I didn't want like that. I wanted to continue the pattern of the even eye around it. So what I did was I actually took the one package, I put it under the oak leaf, and I took the other one and I put it on top of the oak leaf. So it would be a little if there was any variation, it would be still kept with the same pattern. I know that that's weird things that you just don't think about, but I don't know, I do. That's what my job is, to think about it for you. So as you can see, it's laid out and it all fits. And then when I started to glue it, I started to move it around, and then I messed it up for you guys, but I'll show you how we fix it. So like I said, I actually decided to fold the wire back onto itself. Each time you do that, it creates a tiny little loop in the wire. And that's where I added the glue. And then I just glued it. Now, being me, being attention to detail kind of person, I tried to make it, okay, the maple leaf that is under the oak leaf we'll call A, the oak leaf we'll call B, the other maple leaf that's on top of the oak leaf we'll call C, and the green one we'll call D. So I wanted to make it where it was rotating. So this is what I mean. I started off with A towards the inside of the wreath. B would be straight on the same direction as the wreath, and C would be on the outside of the wreath. And then the next one, D, would be on the inside of the wreath, and A would be straight, and B would... So it would alternate like which direction each leaf was going. So basically all the green leaves are not leaning on towards the outside of the wreath, and all of the oak leaves aren't leaning to the inside of the wreath. So I wanted to make it so I adjusted it that way. And I know that that sounds weird the way I just said it, but hopefully you understand the way the pattern goes. But I tried to make it leaning on the inside, then one straight along the same direction as the wreath form, and then I would make one leaning towards the outside of the wreath form. This way we get good coverage also. Now, as I started to say before, because I was working on the side instead of like towards me, because as you can see, the bottom of the wreath is cut off, so you cannot see what I'm doing towards me. So I decided to work on the side. Well, it's a fair bit of a stretch for me. It wasn't a very comfortable position. I started to squish the leaves together. Even though I laid them out and was trying to turn them in their pattern, they ended up being more bunched up. And by the time I got around to where there was no more leaves, there was still a big space that was left over. So what I ended up doing was peeling them off and repositioning them, moving each one a little bit further away and a little bit further away until when I was done, I was satisfied and I had them all spread out and we had good spacing. So yeah, I just wanted to share it with you. I wanted to leave it in this video so that you can see that if, you know, you can mess up too and there's a way to fix it. With hot glue, you know, if you know, it sets up a lot faster on this fabric to fabric than it does with like plastic or anything. But it still was I still was able to peel each leaf off of where it was originally glued, so I can re-glue it in a new position. All right, and then we're just going to go all the way around. If you're working at home and you're working at towards you, then you can go ahead and just rotate the wreath form like I'm doing here. But of course, I'm trying to do it so that you guys can see. And of course, I'm failing every few minutes where I notice that I've actually started working towards me again. So then I have to move the wreath around. But like I said, I left on here the mistake. So if you guys know how I am about taking something that I teach you and making it your own, I would love to see what you guys do with this if you like it. Some of you might like the colors. You might like the orange and the burgundy in there. I definitely do myself. It's just, it doesn't go with the modern farmhouse look that I was trying to achieve with this wreath. You know, try to do a little bit different for everybody. I think the only thing that I don't do on a regular basis is glam up stuff. And I think I need to do more glammy stuff, right? I think you guys let me know in the comments down below if you need me to do more glammy stuff. It's just hard because now I got to go buy glammy stuff to glam up, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm not sure if anybody had difficulty finding the galvanized words like I did. But I was so excited to find them that I picked up 4 packages. Actually picked up 3 and then went back and picked up another one. But they're 3 galvanized words. One says thankful, one says harvest, and one says welcome in one package for $1. And I just thought they were the most amazing bargain. And I was like, how are they even selling these? Never mind just for 33.333 cents each. So what I ended up doing, which is also not in my original, well, I didn't really put down a budget, but originally I said inexpensive, and it started out being inexpensive. It started out being a $5 wreath that turned into a $6 wreath, turned into a $6.25 wreath, turned into a $6.35 wreath, and then we added words to it. But still, at $7, I don't think you could pay for a wreath this size with the words, with the galvanized words on it for $7. I'm just saying. And I'm also giving you options when it comes towards the end. I've showed you different ways to make it your own, to make it special, to make it more girly, not girly is not right the word, less clean. I'm going to put a bow on it and then we'll put the word on it and you'll see. So now I'm just rearranging, as you can see. When I peel a leaf off from down here, I'm holding on to the brown burlap underneath, and I'm just re-gluing and moving it all around. And this time I'm paying more attention. I actually looked, when I realized I run out, I looked around back towards work that I had done, and I saw the 2 spots where I really crowded up the leaves. And I knew that I had to at least get to those 2 spots to fix it out. Okay? Yeah, and I don't know why I ended up crowding them so much that you couldn't even see that there was a hula hoop under there. So I was like, well, why did I bother wrapping the hula hoop if I was going to crowd it? And maybe that's an option. Maybe you get yourself some more leaves and you won't have to cover the hula hoop at all. You could just glue a bunch of leaves on it instead. Now these leaves, another benefit to leaving the wire in there is you can actually manipulate them when you're done. Say you want your leaves to actually like bend around the hula hoop. You can do that a little bit with the wire that's in there. That will help definitely take some shape on your leaves. There's only a wire going down the middle, so it'll only curve the whole leaf. It won't do like the little individual petals. But that's an option. You can get some floral wire and glue it to the back of the leaves, and you can do whatever you want to manipulate them, really. But I do like that, like I was saying before, the clean, flat, simple leaves without all of the veining in them or anything is really what drew me to make this modern farmhouse wreath. I just really, that's really when I saw it, that was my inspiration. All right. And yeah. So for less money, you can put this on a wire wreath form. That's one of the things I started to say before. I'm going to show you at the end. I took a little video of me laying a leaf on each of the 4 wreath forms, just so you can get an idea. Of course, the 4 that I'm going to show you are only 8-inch wreaths, but still so they can fit all in one shot. You can see what it looks like on a wiry one. The wire doesn't really come through if you can manage to cover. And then the wicker ones, I really wanted to do the fat grapevine wicker. I think it says rattan actually from the 99-cent only store. It only comes in 8-inch, and I realized these leaves are too big for 8-inch. So here it is, just with a hanger, just with the leaves. And again, wrapped in the hula hoop, and I've just hung the ribbon over the doorknob. So now all I've done is I've taken another piece of ribbon. I made a very simple bow. This is just like make a loop, glue it, and wrap a middle around it. And then I've put a hanger on the back so I could show you what it looks like with a bow on the top. And you can just take it one step further, a little bit more towards a country feel with a bow on it, in my opinion. You guys have your own opinions. You know how that goes. And now I'm going to show you the words. So I asked Jim to come in and help me. What did he think? What word looked better? And should I put it on the side or on the front or on the bottom? And he's like, well, put all of them. He said, welcome, great, thankful harvest. And I was like, well, you know, it's really pretty. It's just, I think it's too much for a modern look. So I laid them out here so that you guys can see what the different words look like on the wreath. But what I ended up doing was taking the mini clothespins, and I have a little jar of like little tiny findings like that next to my table. And I've taken just the mini clothespins and I've glued it on 2 of the uprights. So on harvest, I glued it on the H and on the T. And I knew that on my left, the way I put my leaves, that I needed the one that's on the H to be clipping up and the one that's on the T to be clipping down. And I know that that sounds weird, but you'll see, like with the way the leaves are on top of each other, that you kind of might need to do that. So check before you glue your clothespins on which direction you want your clothespins to be laying, so you make sure you can grab something. And then I'm going to do the same thing to harvest and to welcome. And the reason I've decided to do that is because why not change them out? Why not be able to make welcome or harvest or both, right? And here's what they look like, and they're really sturdy. I couldn't believe how well that this glue was holding to these clothespins. So here's what it looks like with welcome on, and I'm sorry I didn't have the light on for that one, but you could see here, and there you go. And then here is what it looks like with harvest. And this is just another layer, another option, another way to personalize it. So that's it, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really enjoyed doing it. And obviously, this is a huge wreath that could really stand to be outside. So if you like it, give this video a thumbs up and share with friends and family and anybody who might be interested in making one of these. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!